Okay, we open the line for our attendees to join in. I guess that I see people sign into our webinar this morning. We will give it another few more seconds. In the meantime, I see also our speakers are joining us and are here on the, you can see their images. We have also Rob Sandoli that is on the phone with us, another speaker. Good morning, everyone, to our attendees here in California. Good afternoon to folks in the East Coast, and of course, good evening and almost end of the week to our friends in Israel. My name is Sharon Vanek, and I'm the Executive Director of the California Israel Chamber of Commerce, which is a nonprofit located both in California and in Israel, with a mission to bring Israeli companies, institutions, and organizations to work together with their fellows in California on a variety of tech industries. I'm very, very excited to host today our friends from the Bird Foundation. And of course, we are here also with our friends at the Israeli Consulate to the Northwest. So before we start, I would like to welcome our speakers today. Rob Sandoli from the Department of Energy, calling in from DC. Hi, Rob, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
Okay, we have also Maya Vardi Shoshani from the Bird Foundation, a representative to the West Coast, Director of Business Development. Hi, Maya.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the CICC and the Consulate General for promoting our program.
Great. And of course, we have also GJ Lao from Primus Power. Hi, GJ. Welcome from Mountain View here in California.
Sharon, thank you for having us and allowing us to share our work with the group here.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, we also have here Elhai from Zira. Elhai. Hi, Elhai. Good morning. How are you today?
Hi, everyone. Good morning to you all. I'm very good, thank you. Yes, it's Elhai from Zira.
Great. Hi, Elhai. So I think that, you know, we should start, first of all, by understanding what is Bird Foundation and what is Bird Energy. Let's start with Rob. Can you provide us, please, some information about the U.S.-Israel collaboration in general around the energy sector?
Sure, thank you very much, Sharon. It's a pleasure just to be here with folks, and apologies that I'm a disembodied voice here. It's somewhat embarrassing talking to a tech-savvy group that I'm not so tech-savvy enough to get online here with folks. But it's a pleasure to speak with you anyway and talk about the U.S.-Israel collaboration. Of course, the Bird Energy Program is, and the Bird Foundation is a big part of that, and really a foundation for at least our research cooperation. So by way of background, my office tracks and facilitates and manages both bilateral and multilateral collaborations with Israel in the energy space, and I'm going to keep my remarks obviously just focused on the energy space. And we have, well over a dozen separate efforts that really span the spectrum from commercial partnerships to multilateral collaborations like the Eastern Med Gas Forum and the 3+1 dialogue. I can get into all these, but suffice it to say that there's both multilateral collaboration and bilateral collaboration that seeks to deliver benefits for both the U.S. and Israel. And in the energy space, those benefits can be quite significant by tapping the expertise and the innovation culture both in the U.S. and in Israel. So the BIRD program itself, the BIRD Energy Program, and I'll let the BIRD experts speak to this about the foundations of the BIRD program. But BIRD Energy I've been involved with for almost 10 years now, and in a nutshell, we seek to help U.S. companies and Israeli companies find each other that have complementary technologies, jointly apply for a research grant, and aim to commercialize new energy technologies. That's it in a nutshell, so I don't steal the thunder from our bird colleagues. Back over to you.
No, that's totally fine. And indeed, what we are going to discuss today is, of course, the bird energy. And we would like to also share with our attendees today some past experience with our friends here both from the Israeli experience and the American side experience. And of course, we would like also to explain to our attendees what are the really hands-on and steps that they need to do in order to apply to this grant. So I want to take this opportunity to remind our attendees that we have the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Please don't be shy, send us your questions. We will try to answer them throughout the session that we have today, and either we'll do it during the session or we will do it towards the end of the session. I also want to remind you that this session is being recorded and will be available later on our social media and the CICC YouTube channel. So following the remarks from Rob, I would like to turn to Maya and hear a little bit of the background. For those who don't know, I spoke to a lot of people that never heard about the Bird Foundation. Can you tell us what is it all about before we talk about the energy side?
Sure, and I would like to share my screen with you so I can give some background about who we are. And again, thank you for having us. So BIRD is an acronym for Binational Industrial R&D. We are an organization that was established by the two governments back in the 70s. With a very unique status as we are 50% owned by the US government. Our goal was to fund and promote joint collaboration and innovation between American and Israeli companies. And we do that using an endowment that we received from the two governments of $110 million. And with that endowment, we fund innovative R&D collaborations between American and Israeli companies. Everything we do is for mutual benefit of the US and Israel. We have an energy program that we're going to discuss today. That started back in 2009. And since then, we approved 51 projects in 11 cycles. This program, the stakeholders are the US Department of Energy and the Israeli Ministry of Energy, jointly with the Israeli Innovation Authority. So on our board are people, representatives from both governments, with two co-chairs, chairmen from the Israeli chief scientist and the assistant secretary for NIST. And in the energy program, we have an executive committee from the DOE and the Israeli Ministry of Energy and the Israeli Innovation Authority that are deciding who will be awarded. So actually, what do? We provide funding for joint projects. We are like matchmakers. We help introduce companies to each other. And then if those matches turn into projects, they apply to us. And we can potentially fund up to 50% of their combined R&D project budget. We can fund those projects up to $1 million for the complete project, which would be about $2 million. It's a dollar-to-dollar match towards each of the company's R&D. And of course, it's non-dilutive funding. We don't take any IP rights or equity. And a lot of what we do is assist with finding the match, the partner. And in this case, in the general program, we can fund two companies. In the energy program, the collaboration can be between a company and a research institute on both sides of the ocean. Sharon, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me know if you have any questions or if I should.
So let me just summarize what you said now, because it's very important, and we had a question already about this. So the BIRD model, just to really summarize what Maya just mentioned, is a matching program for projects which are up to $2 million, when half of it is being provided by the foundations, right, Maya?
Yes, so
Correct.
we can fund 50% of the R&D expenses for each partner. And the partners need to bring the project to completion, to commercialize it, get it to market. So they have to pay for the rest of the project. Perfect.
And another point which is very important is to make sure that people understand that this is a non-dilutive grant.
Yes,
Means
of course.
basically it's almost a gift from the foundation to the companies that participate in this project, correct?
So we do get repayments from successful projects, which help keep our fund sustainable, but repayments are capped and of course non-dilutive. So if the project, if there are royalties, revenue, then the companies, the partners repay us the grant.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Maya, for this explanation.
Yeah, so as I said, we invest in, through our general program in any sector besides defense. And we can also fund, of course, energy and environment projects through this. But, and I can get into details later, we do have the general the energy call for proposals that we are promoting now with a deadline at the end of this month. And we are calling companies and research institutes to reach out to us. We can assist and facilitate introductions, help you find partners if you don't know already, don't have one already, and guide you through the process.
Okay. Thank you, Maya, for this, and we will dive into the actual process later on in this discussion. I want to go back to you, Rob, and ask you some questions about the collaboration that you saw in the past few years and how you foresee that collaboration between Israel and the US in the future. So, two questions for you. First of all, if you can talk about the US-Israel Energy Cooperation from the DOE perspective. And I know that there is also the US-Israel Energy Center. If you can share with our audience some information about the center, its mission, its projects, and the resources that are available for companies.
Sure, Sharon, happy to. So broadly speaking, as I mentioned, we track more than a dozen collaborations in the energy space between the U.S. and Israel out of our office. There is extensive cybersecurity collaboration, even in the nuclear space with the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission. There's, as I mentioned, some multilateral collaborations, artificial intelligence. So there's a lot, and one message for us to take away is the U.S.-Israel relationship is strong, especially in the energy space. And our ministers have excellent personal relationships. The staff have great personal relationships because of mutual benefit from our collaboration in the topics that I just mentioned. And it's noteworthy, more broadly speaking. We have, the last I saw, 2,500 U.S. companies in Israel employing 72,000 Israelis. Now, that's not just in the energy space, that's a broad stat, but that just shows the strength of the relationship and the economic relations between us. It's also noteworthy that Israel is a top 15 foreign direct investment country into the U.S. too. So the money flows both ways, and of course, energy is a big part of that. So let me turn to your second question then on the Energy Center, and it's important to distinguish this from the BIRD Energy Program. This was a center that was authorized separately by Congress, and just in 2018, our two ministers at the time, Secretary Perry from the U.S. and Minister Steinitz from Israel, signed an agreement to focus on 4 areas through this energy center, and that was in the fossil energy area, energy storage, cybersecurity, and the energy water nexus. So in those areas, the U.S. and Israeli experts in those 4 technology areas jointly came together to decide what some research priorities would be, put out a call for proposals, and we just ran a selection process. And in March, at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, just announced the winners for 3 of those 4 centers. We decided to reissue the call for proposals on the cybersecurity center. So there's a press release on that. I'm happy to share it with you and your and all the callers and participants after the call. But just let me draw the distinction now between this energy center and the Bird Energy Program. The energy center itself there's a lead consortium member from the U.S. and a lead member from Israel. But the idea was to get multiple institutes, companies together to jointly apply. In that way, it's similar to the Bird program, but to apply to establish a long-term relationship and research partnership. We envision these centers lasting up to 5 years. And so the award was made with a 5-year timeline, and it wasn't, unlike the Bird Energy Program, aimed at commercializing one single technology. It was aimed more broadly at commercializing technologies in a number of areas that fall within those 4 broad categories. So those are a couple of very important distinctions between this much larger Bird Energy Program. And by the way, this program we calculate as being up to $80 million over 5 years, and we calculate that as each side, the U.S. and Israeli side, contributes $4 million per year so far. We're actually even though the center's just getting off the ground, we're actually in the 3rd year of our funding cycle in the U.S. So $4 million per year each side. So it's $8 million per year plus at least 50% cost share from the partners. Times 5 years is $80 million. So it's a huge effort. And I'm happy to answer more questions on that later. One other thing before I turn it back to you is to note that the consortium members that won for the 3 that I mentioned, the fossil energy storage and energy water, they have multiple partners on each side, and they can actually add partners. So there's a way to get engaged with the lead consortium members. If you bring a technology and expertise and you want to engage with that center to do some research and commercialize new technologies, it's possible to, even though these technologies have already been awarded, to become a partner into that energy center. So I'll throw it back to you, Don. There, Sharon.
Thank you. And for those who asked, this was Rob Sandoli from the U.S. Department of Energy that giving us his take on the collaboration. Thank you so much, Rob. We'll definitely want to hear more from you about this. You mentioned the Homeland Security grant that is going to be announced, and we will talk about it also later on. And also Maya shared with us earlier that there are more than just the Bird Energy. There are other sectors that the Bird Foundation is interested in and funding projects. So we'll talk about it later on. We do have some questions on the Q&A. I want to assure our folks that we will answer those particular questions, and you will see that some of it is already part of our discussion for today. So I want to go back to you, Maya, and ask you about your role. I know you mentioned a little bit about it earlier. What is your role in assisting both the U.S. and the Israeli sides in this process?
Sure. So I am the Director of Business Development in the West Coast, and I'm responsible all the way to the southwest to Texas. I have a colleague on the East Coast, Andrea Iona, who is based in Princeton, New Jersey. And we have a team in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And we manage the operations of Bird. We assist and facilitate introductions, and we help companies and research institutes applying through our special programs to submit the proposals. Guide them through the process. We provide feedback on documents submitted. So we always recommend not to wait to the deadlines and talk to us. If you don't already have a partner, we actually make introductions. I speak to companies, try to understand what kind of complementary technologies they're looking for, what I can, which companies we should introduce to them. We send links to databases or to websites of companies. And if there is interest on both sides, we make introductions. So we take a very specialized approach, individualized. We try to listen and understand what kind of project the company is interested in bringing. And then we can also tell them if we think that they have good chances in our process. We provide feedback on the documents themselves. So if you share with us a draft, maybe I should get a little bit into the process because, for example, the current call for proposals that we are promoting is the energy one. The deadline on June 30th is for an executive summary. That is a short, non-binding document that is submitted based on our template. All our documents are on our website under procedures and forms. And if someone has difficulty finding it, of course, we can share it. So I think my most important takeout from today is reach out to us, reach out to me. I'll help you. That document is just a short description of who the companies are, what the project is, the innovation, the collaborative relationship. It's up to 4 pages, so you just fill in that information and you share it with us by the deadline. Within a couple of days, we send the companies a recommendation whether we believe that they should proceed to the next step. That is the full proposal. That is in mid-August, in August 13th for this cycle. And that is already a comprehensive document with a business and financial details. But we do try and bring the success rate in our process to be high. About 40 to 50% success rate in the general program, and I believe about 40 in the energy program. So we do know each cycle how much funding we have to give. The amount varies from year to year, and we see how many executive summaries we receive, and we give a recommendation only to a number of proposals. And then there is a review process that is done by reviewers from both sides. In the energy program, reviewers from DOE and the Israeli Ministry of Energy, together with the Israeli Innovation Authority, are going through the proposals, reviewing them, and an executive committee that will sit in November will decide who is awarded. So this is our process. We also have the general program coming up with a deadline in September and decisions in December. So it's pretty rapid process, about 3 to 4 months from submission to decisions. And only after the companies are awarded, then we do ask to see a signed agreement between them. So there's no commitment prior to being awarded and taking the funds from us.
So just to summarize, Maya, with your permission, there is current call for companies out there. It is available on the Bird Foundation website. It's also part of our publication at the CICC. If you cannot find the call for companies, please reach out either to Maya or myself, and we will help you find the correct link. The first step is to submit an executive summary, which is due at the end of this month. The next step is on August 13th, and hopefully the announcement will be back in November.
Decisions are in November.
In November.
Yeah. So
again, very important that there is no commitment from your side, means the companies that apply for this grant until you are being awarded. So this is very important to understand. And also, if you have an idea for a project, if you have a questions, please reach out to the Bird Foundation people, because their job is also to help you and find the right partner. Now we speak about partners on both sides. We have some questions here on the Q&A regarding the partnerships and who might apply. We talk about companies, but it's not just companies. Maya, I'm going back to you. Can you explain who can apply for the Bird Foundation grant in this Bird Energy?
okay.
What entities?
So in the general program, we need two commercial entities, two companies from, one from the US, one from Israel. It can be a subsidiary. And the importance regarding location is where the R&D is being performed. So we can fund R&D in the US from the US partner, and in Israel to the Israeli partner. In the energy program, we can also fund a collaboration with the university, but we still need one commercial partner. Again, one from Israel, one from the US, and they jointly submit the proposal.
Right. There was also a question regarding commercial labs and academia. Can you refer to that?
Yeah, so they can be, of course, one of the partners in the energy program.
Okay, so we're not just looking at companies, but we are also looking at academia and laboratories. And I think a good example will be the collaboration that was between Primus Power and the Technion in Israel. So we see a commercialized company working together with the academia. And I would like to welcome GJ Lao from Primus Power, who is joining us today. Primus Power was awarded in 2018 a grant by the Bird Foundation, by the Bird Energy. There was a total grant of $6 million that were awarded to seven projects. And GJ, can you tell us first of all a little bit about Primus Power?
Absolutely, thanks, Sharon. Let me share my screen here. I'll do a little slide presentation.
Thank you.
On Primus Power and the project that we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, could you see my screen, Sharon?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. So we're a Bird Energy funded program working on the development of a breakthrough high energy density grid scale storage battery.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can go full screen here. Perfect. So a little bit about Primus Power. We've basically been developing zinc bromine energy storage systems for the past decade. We're now at the commercialization stage, having shipped industrial scale batteries to both US and international customers. Our system is called the Energy Pod. It's a flow battery system based on this zinc bromide chemistry. And this results in a non-flammable, low cost, long cycle life platform that's important for industrial scale applications. Our system uses only half the components in a typical flow battery, making us essentially a leader in this innovative technology, resulting in over 60 patents in over a dozen countries. Over the years, we've worked with R&D, manufacturing, system and site integration partners. And actually, in our case, ICL, Israel Chemicals Limited, was the company that introduced us to the Bird Foundation. We've raised over $100 million as a private company from international investors, and also approximately $20 million in grants, with the most recent one being the Bird Energy funding for this project. This slide shows you here our product today. It's a 25 kilowatt, 5-hour duration system, resulting in 125 kilowatt hour energy capacity. Each of these units, as shown in the left, could power a small office building, a small factory, a typical commercial storefront, and an array of these batteries could power communities and cities. Key applications that we could focus on for our system are bulk energy shifting for commercial solar plus storage, for example, moving essentially daytime energy to after the sun sets, enabling really 24/7 renewables for the utility grid, and then replacing diesel generation for industrial-based customers. This is the product as it stands today, and this is the effort that we've essentially been funded for Bird Energy to enhance this product. Here's a snapshot of the program that we're working on. Our partner is Technion, or the Israel Institute of Technology, in collaboration with Professor Matt Seuss at the Mechanical Engineering Department there. His team and himself are R&D leaders for this particular chemistry. They utilize state-of-the-art experimental computer modeling as well as rapid testing to essentially do all the R&D for this particular project. So this is a 3-year program for us. Year 1 is really all the R&D work done at the Technion, followed by essentially a tech transfer to Primus Power, where our focus is really engineering and scale-up, productizing this novel concept, and then resulting in a product commercialization towards the end of year 3. Again, the focus is doubling the energy density for our current battery, resulting in a really breakthrough high energy density battery at the end of year 3. So that, in a nutshell, is Primus Power and the work that we're doing.
Okay, thank you so much, GJ, for this explanation about your product and about the project. Just on a quick note, can you tell us about your experience working with the Bird Foundation and working with the Technion people? Yeah, so very positive experience working with the Bird folks, very responsive, both Maya and Tal, the US and Israeli-based business development folks have been reaching out to us, really doing a hand-holding throughout the application process. It can be somewhat tedious getting agreements in place, having international 2 different countries to deal with, in our case as well, working through just university administration getting agreements signed, but in the end it's going to get completed, and you just have to persevere and work through that. Thank you. We also have here Elhai Farkash from Zira. Zira, or in its previous name, Lights Up, won an award by the Bird Foundation back in 2014. And welcome, Elhai. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, so here we have a different experience, I mean, not different experience, but different process and different companies that were part of the ground. Can you tell us a little bit about what Light Up, what Zira are doing, and about the program you're doing with Bird Foundation?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's the opposite route from what Primus Power was doing. We were originally an Israeli company, so Light Up is an Israeli company. The R&D of Zira, which is previously Light Up, is still in Israel. But following this project, we encountered a surge of demand coming out of the US, specifically from California, and some more projects that were coming in, a research project with UC Berkeley and some other partners, funded project by the California Energy Commission, etc. So we basically relocated to California. I relocated first, then my co-founder relocated, and we have our business center is in the US. So it's a different route. I will share my screen also. I'll give you some background about Zira, and it's basically Light Up, developed Light Up, and about our partner and the project that we did. So just a second, I'll share my screen with you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, so we'll put it on presentation mode. And so in essence, Light Up and Zira is a software platform. We do industrial manufacturing. So we focus on industrial manufacturing software and automation tools. We capture that data from sensors, devices, different transactional systems, such as ERP or manufacturing execution systems, and also data from people. It's as a concept, it's a whole new platform. LightApp was mainly on on the web, so it basically was an analytic tool collecting data from real-time machines, real-time data from sensors on machines, specifically energy, which is water, electricity, steam, of course, gas, etc., and analyzing it and delivering it in the format of reports and alerts to the customers. Zira is a take on top of that, basically allowing a business to run more efficiently, more profitably, and of course, available on mobile devices as we are in 2020 and not in 2014, like when the project was conceived. We focus on what is important right now, not only on what is happening right now, and we route our customers to a fast resolution of problems that might occur on the shop floor, mainly from an energy perspective. So we identify the issues through energy data. We identify the issues, throughput problems from the lenses of energy data, and we deliver it to our customers. The ability to interact with the data through Zira is what makes all the difference, but we are basically collecting data from a lot of different other systems that are available on the shop floor. As for our partner, was our partner in the project, now our customer, and we pay royalties to the Bird Foundations, of course, after the product became commercialized. Pratt Industries, the 5th largest paper manufacturing company, originally from Australia, but with 4 paper mills in the US, 4,000 employees in the US alone. This is what a paper machine looks like. So I love this picture because it shows all the energy that is running around. It's a huge machine. It's kind of a steampunk look to it, with a lot of, you can see steam going on, and that's what our project focused on steam or gas consumption on that production line, where in a paper manufacturing facility like in Pratt, you have a stock of paper that comes in this format. So it's basically a paper sent for recycling. They run processes, a lot of energy processes, to make this stack of trash into a 40-ton roll of brown paper. And they run this machine at about, it's about 50 miles per hour or 70 kilometers per hour or so to make this roll. So this is actually the shop floor at Pratt in Conyers in Atlanta. At the end of this machine, there's one sensor, a very expensive sensor that is basically measuring the amount of humidity in the paper, and it runs the entire machine, helps running the entire machine and set the set points for the different sections. The project with Bird was basically taking each one of these sections using low-cost steam input into the product in each section, and basically build a software module to be able to optimize this entire operation to save on gas consumption and steam. So this was the project. We actually brought Pratt onto the table to talk with Bird. Took us a while, but once we started, basically it started running about 3 months from the submission to approval, and from that point on, it took a few more months and a lot of Bird. And what I really thankful for Bird is the ability to not only approve a project like that really, really fast, but also help interact with the two parties, the Israeli party and the partner here, to make a project a reality, because there is a lot of things that needs to be done. And Maya mentioned that before, just to get something like that signed between two very different type of companies, a startup company from Israel and a very established industrial manufacturing, traditional manufacturing company in the US. So a lot of matchmaking in the project itself. But we also did the other route. So we brought Pratt also to Israel. We went to the US and Pratt came to Israel. This is Pratt's chief engineer, Bob Pelchat, the leader of this project in of the bird project, as we call it internally at Pratt. And of course, they are also very thankful. They put a part of the funds themselves, and Bird put the rest, or it was 1-to-1. So $1 million from Bird, $1 million from Pratt to create such a project, a reality. And basically, the bottom line of this is actually a true increase in profit margin, which is very important for such companies. I can talk about it forever, of course, and there are videos and such that can go about it, but this is basically the introduction to what we did.
Thank you, Elhai, for this introduction. It's quite remarkable. I just want to mention that in 2014, about $9 million were granted by the Bird Foundation to 11 projects. This is only one of the projects that we can see from 2014. And some of the points in Elhai's presentation, I want to ask Maya and Rob if you can elaborate a little bit about, first of all, we see here a small startup from Israel with a giant from the US working together. What is the typical size of a business applicant to this grant? Are there any criterias, or it can be two big companies, a small company? Are there any advantages or disadvantages for small companies in the process? Maya, maybe you can answer.
Yeah. There are no limitations on size. We see, I think that originally when Bird started many years ago, we saw more established US companies with smaller Israeli startups. We see a change in that, and we do see a lot of collaboration between two smaller companies. Again, it is very helpful that at least one of the companies or one of the partners will have access to market. As we are, it is a competitive process, and we are looking, besides the innovation that is of course our main criteria, and the synergy between the companies, we are looking for potential for commercialization. So having that access to market is great. If two small companies can show that they have these capabilities, they can win our grant.
Thank you, Maya.
I think, if I may say also, I think that Elhai's project is a great example of the larger impact that Bird has, not only on the funding that the two companies received, but also on job creation, the capital raised following the Bird project. We see a lot of merger and acquisitions, and of course, Israeli companies setting up offices in the US and vice versa. So,
thank you, Maya. Rob, I have some questions for you regarding more of the interest that the Bird Energy has in terms of the type of companies or type of projects that can submit for grants. For example, we have some questions from the audience. For example, is there an initiative underway in Israel for utilizing the Compass natural gas, the CNG, instead of gasoline? Are there any clean energy photovoltaic systems areas that can be funded? For example, another question, can a lab from in the field of healthcare be a viable candidate, and so on? Can you elaborate more about the topics that are of interest or the areas that the program is going to fund?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Zira, for the audience for those questions.
Sharon, I don't think we hear him very well.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So thanks again for those questions. Yes, so the Bird Energy program, which is what our office helps manage at DOE, has a focus area initially on clean energy technologies, which included all energy efficiency technologies, renewable energy technologies. It has since expanded through later authorizations to include natural gas, to include energy water technologies. So it's pretty broad in the energy technology space. So whoever asked about PV, I think that's our number one kind of technology category that's been awarded through Bird Energy has been in the PV space. In terms of healthcare, so now you're getting into the parent bird program, as Maya said, the history, the 40-year history of this program, and that falls into the parent industrial technologies program. So they wouldn't be eligible for bird energy in the healthcare space, but certainly they'd be eligible for the parent bird program, which actually runs 2 cycles a year. And maybe Maya, if you want to say a word more about that, I'll throw it over to you.
Sure. So we have 2 general cycles every March and September. Any innovative technology can apply to that cycle as long as there are 2 partners, 2 companies, one from the US side and one from the Israeli side. I wanted to add that in the energy program, and as well as our other programs, if you are not sure that you are eligible because of the size of the company or the sector, talk to us. We will give you an answer, and if we're not sure, we will find out from our stakeholders. And for the gas technology, yes, we added natural gas technologies to our scope of the Bird Energy program. And again, it can be submitted through that or to our general program.
Okay. Thank you, Maya, for clarifying it. We actually have on the line Limor Nakar-Vincent from Bird in Israel. Limor, welcome to our conversation today. How are you?
Very good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I know you wanted to make a comment, and I welcome you to the conversation.
Not sure I did, sorry, but I'm looking forward to continue discussions with all the participants. And I want to tell Elhai that I'm very proud of the work and that they've done over the years and the establishments in California. And sorry.
Thank you so
Limor.
much.
Couldn't do it without you.
So thank you, Limor, for that comment, and we will go back to our discussion. So there was another very important question from our audience regarding the IP. Maybe either Maya or Rob, you can answer this question. How does the IP typically dispositions between the US and the Israeli partners and the Bird Foundation?
So if I may take that, we don't get involved into the business decisions between the partners. So we leave it to them to decide what they do with their IP, who keeps it, if they share it. There is no need for a joint venture. So it's really up to the partners to decide. And we do see different scenarios depending on the project itself and the partners. We don't take any IP, so there shouldn't be any worry in that regard. And of course, we don't take any equity.
Thank you, Maya. I have a question from the audience, and I want to ask Elhai if you can help us with this question. Since you have the activity both in the US and in Israel, and you talked about the commercialization of the R&D process and the product at the end of it. Can you tell us, first of all, is your product commercialized both in the US and in Israel? And if you found through the process any restrictions, or on the contrary, was it easier for you?
No restrictions. Actually, I think it was easier for us in terms of communicating with the partner, and also to leverage on the question that you asked before, Maya, the IP question. Yeah, Bear does not get involved, but there are suggestions and a lot of mediation in the process. So yeah, commercialization means you get to sell your product. So you develop a product and you sell it. You can sell it all over the world. We sell in South Africa. We sell in Israel. We sell in the US, in Eastern Europe as well. But so it's not limited to geography or any limitations on that. I think that that basically answers that question, right?
Okay, thank you, Elhai, for this answer. Some question about statistics. Maybe Rob, you have the numbers, or Maya. Do you know how many proposals are usually being submitted and how many are being approved? What is the ratio between the actual submissions and the approvals?
So,
Rob, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Sure. Welcome. Any questions from Maya on this one? But we've made about over the years between 5 and
Sharon, we can't hear him.
Per year, and you know, we're somewhere between a 40 and 50% award rate. So if you apply, and you make it through that process of finding a partner, getting your executive summary approved and encouraged, going through the full application process, you've got almost a 50% chance if you have a meritorious application of getting awarded, which is pretty good for the applicants. We won't make non-meritorious awards. So even if we have funding available, if we don't see the application as being technically sound, we won't make the award. But we're happy to push the envelope and make awards to as many as we can that are meritorious. So and while I have the floor, let me throw just a couple other stats at you, since we were talking about the you know, kind of the benefits of this. You know, the Bird Energy program is relatively new compared to the parent bird program, you know, about a 10-year history, but I think about 7 technologies commercialized so far. And keep in mind, we're investing early stage, early to mid stage, so it takes a little while for technologies that come to market. But importantly, and this is maybe really a value for your participants and listeners too, that the Bird Foundation has tracked $450 million in follow-on investment from our grants. So we've leveraged that grant money to bring companies, some of which are early stage, some of which may be established on the U.S. and Israeli side, to attract further private sector capital, which ultimately may help them take a technology to market. So a lot of benefits flowing from this. And again, between the commercialization of the technologies, the follow-on investments, and just the jobs and economic development benefits in the U.S. and Israel, it's a really, really valuable program for both the U.S. and Israel.
Thank you so much, Rob, for that. We're getting close to the end of the hour. Maya, can you share with our audience, please, your contact information and the website for the current call for companies?
Of course. So first of all, let me share my screen and show you the most important thing, which is the energy call for proposals. Sorry, my email is mayav@birdf.com. Please reach out to us. Our website is www.birdf.com. All the information and the call for proposals and contact information is on our website, as well as all the documents that need to be submitted. And again, talk to us. Don't wait to the deadline. We can assist in the process and help you with the matchmaking and make introductions. If you're not sure if you're eligible, talk to us. We'll be happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you so much, Maya. And again, the information will be available later on also on the CICC website and our social media. So if you didn't have a chance to write it down or listen again to this presentation, you can go back to it later on and get all the information from that. GJ, last comments about your experience and maybe an advice for companies that are listening to us about your experience?
Yes, experience has been overall positive. We've been able to essentially double our R&D efforts and tackle more high risk technology development that the company would not have funded. So this allows you to extend your reach and also opens markets. Israel is a country that's focused on renewable energy and allows us to introduce our battery systems over there. Advice would be apply for the program. And, in our case, we've really integrated really well with the Technion team. And we have, weekly, monthly calls and also, visits as often as we can at this point to really propel the program forward.
Thank you, GJ, for that. Elhai, maybe some last comments from you about your experience and an advice for companies that are considering to apply for a grant?
Yes, of course. Well, lots of advices. Anyone who wants to ask, I always give lots of advices. But the first advice, just apply. If you're a small company or a startup in Israel, or if you're a big company in the US, apply for this grant. We saw lots of value in all phases. So when we engaged with submitting, the process of submitting and learning so much through that process, the contracting with the customer, and then the relationship is ongoing. We're still in touch, discovering new partnerships, new opportunities, even after the project. So I think this is also a very good networking tool. So a true enabler, which I would promote strongly anywhere I go, and that's what I do.
Thank you so much, Elhai, for those encouraging words. I really appreciate it. Rob, back to you. Some final thoughts and advice from your end about the DOE insights and the collaboration with Israel?
I think I will just echo the other comments to say, apply to this program. We welcome innovative ideas, and you can rest assured that this is a program that has broad support across the political spectrum. It has been around, will continue to be around, and we look forward to reviewing some interesting applications. So please reach out to Maya and Bird Foundation if you're unsure, and we welcome innovative concepts and ideas and applicants. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for that comment. We are very grateful for this collaboration. If you have any questions, further questions about the Bird Foundation in general, about Bird Energy, the upcoming call for companies that we have out there, the next call for companies will be in Homeland Security with the Bird Foundations. You can always reach out to the Israeli Consulate where you live. They have all the information. You can reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, the Israel-California Chamber of Commerce, for more information. And of course, don't hesitate to contact directly Maya and her colleagues around here in the US and also in Israel. I know that there are a lot of questions that you have. We really have only 1 hour to answer those questions. Again, this session was being recorded, so don't hesitate either to contact us or to go back and listen to the session and review the information. Go on the Bird Foundation, birdf.com, to learn more about what is available out there. We are looking forward to do more programs with you, to have those discussions with you. It's a win-win for everyone. And we see great results from those projects for both sides of the oceans. Thank you so much. For Maya, who gave us all those informations about the Bird Foundation. Thank you, Rob Sandoli from the DOE, who joined us today. Applause to both Elhai, Farkash, and GJ. Both companies were awarded the Bird Foundation, Bird Energy in the past. Good luck in your next endeavors. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Goodbye, everyone.